Okay, we'll get started now. Thanks everyone for joining us for our webinar today, Managing Employee Onboarding with Jira. We're going to go through some slides talking about the process a little bit, exploring the options that are available within Jira Work Management and Jira Service Management. And then we've got a demo of a Jira Service Management configuration. And we're going to reserve some time at the end for Q&A. So we'll try and have quite a bit of time left over to answer questions, and we can even keep the demo screen up and dive into more details. So as you have questions, feel free to enter them either into chat or the Q&A panel, and we will answer them there. Everybody can hear me okay? I should make sure everybody can hear me before we keep going. Yes, perfect. Thank you, Karuna. All right, so without further ado, we'll get started. Quick agenda, so we'll go through a quick introduction. I'm going to provide an intro to myself, plus a little overview of Avant. We're going to talk about some of the challenges that organizations are facing today with employee onboarding and how difficult it can be given the complexity of organizational growth nowadays. We're going to talk about some of the options you have available to you with Jira templates and onboarding and recruitment management that are available with the new cloud templates in both Jira Work Management and Jira Service Management. And then, as I mentioned, we'll then jump into a quick demo of the onboarding process using Jira Service Management, touching on the portal, use of customized forms, integration with Insight, and even looking at some automation rules. And then we'll save some time for Q&A at the end. So as I mentioned, make sure to get your questions in, and then we can go over them at the end of the presentation. So quick intro to myself. I am the president and CEO of Avant. I've been working with Avant since 2013. We have been an Atlassian solution partner providing services to Canadian and North American customers since 2013. Myself, I've been working with the tools a little over 9 years now. I have certifications both as a CPA and Jira Service Desk and Jira Project Administration. So very well versed in the tools and the support services around them. Avant is proudly headquartered in Winnipeg, Manitoba. We've got offices all across the country. We've been providing services and solutions for over 25 years. Initially started out in software development and consulting services, and then expanded into Atlassian services in late 2013, early 2014, as we noticed a growing need and demand for the support services around these products. We provide a full range of services supporting the Atlassian products, including license management, application administration, migration services, managed hosting, custom add-on development, and even training and coaching. In addition, we are expanding our services beyond just the tools and growing into the domain areas, focusing on Agile, DevOps, and QA and ITSM. Quick note about the Atlassian products. Those that are familiar with them are aware that while they may have started in software development, primarily focused on issue tracking and bug tracking, the solution areas that the Atlassian tools support have grown significantly over the years as they have expanded the feature sets and capabilities of the products well beyond just pure software development, including ITSM and asset management, facilities management, project and portfolio management, procurement, collaboration, QA, enterprise services, software dev, and DevOps, and even more recently, an increasing focus on HR services. And just very quickly, we've been fortunate over the years to work with many great customers, and just want to give a quick shout out to any of the ones that may be attending the call today. They've been the reason for our success, and we've been very grateful for the opportunity to work with many of these organizations. And before we get into the demo, I just want to quickly touch on a little bit about how we work with our customers. We try and utilize the agile mindset as much as possible in our delivery services. focusing on working very collaboratively and iteratively with our customers, understanding that the traditional waterfall style projects, especially within Atlassian implementations, can be very challenging. Our approach is to work with the customers so that the customers gain a detailed understanding of the tools and how they work through an iterative and incrementally deliverable approach. We find this produces the best results. And quick note on Atlassian partners. We are advocates and experts on all things Atlassian, including cloud. We have specialized training in Atlassian products from both licensing and implementation standpoint, and we truly are the boots on the ground supporting Atlassian in their journey to help all teams unleash their full potential. All right, so without further ado, employee onboarding challenges. So many organizations these days are experiencing the churn of employees coming in and going. As organizations are scaling, there's more and more employees that are needing to be hired, and the process itself is becoming quite complex. So as we grow, we need to acquire and we need to onboard and we need to be efficient. But that process is becoming more and more complicated as businesses become more and more complicated. It's not just a matter of selecting a person, then bringing them on and getting started. There's more that goes into the process through the recruitment efforts, contracting of employment offers, acceptance, and then once you have somebody identified, it's all the various teams that are involved in making that happen through payroll, HR, IT, facilities. So there's always multiple teams that are involved in this onboarding process. And unless you have a solution that can integrate and allow those teams to work collaboratively, it can be difficult to keep everything on top of it. And that's why we're here today. So we want to better understand how Jira can support the streamlining and the integration of your teams working to onboard new hires. So let's take a look at what out-of-the-box solutions we have available through Jira. So within the Jira Work Management product, there are two dedicated templates that teams can use to get started. One is more focused on the recruitment side of the process, so the interview, offers, acceptance, and rejections. And then the other is focused on the actual onboarding process itself. So each of these have dedicated workflows, dedicated issue types to support the recruitment and the onboarding processes. In addition, there are templates available within the Jira Service Management project that introduce additional features and functionality to further support both of these processes. One is dedicated through the IT service management, and the other is through a dedicated HR service management portal. Today, we're going to focus on looking at the IT service management configuration, but the emphasis will be on how do we then further integrate that with the other teams that are involved. So quickly, with Jira Service Management, we get a look at some of the features and functionality. Jira Work Management has introduced a new list view that's been very popular with non-technical teams. In addition, there's the traditional board style view for helping visualizing the various tasks and items that are in progress at any given time. Very popular is the calendar view. So this allows teams that are onboarding to identify in a calendar style view where and when these individuals are coming on board and when the work needs to be completed in order to deliver the needs. And equally as popular, the new timeline view that you get with Jira Work Management helps you identify in a traditional timeline style view where and when these individuals are coming on board. With Jira Service Management, you get the enhanced capabilities that include a dedicated portal for each of your projects with customizable forms that streamlines the intake of your requests. For the teams managing them, they get access to queues to visualize the backlog of work that they have to identify high priority items or items that are close to breaching SLAs. And lastly, there is the view of the SLA. And in addition, with Jira Service Management, you have integration with Insight, which is Atlassian's asset management system, so that you can tie all of your resources and your assets together to have a fully streamlined view of the resources within your organization. So now let's jump into a quick demo and see how we were able to make this happen in real life. Okay, so here we are. We are now in the Jira Service Management Help Center. So this is where your customers access the various support channels that they have access to. As we can see, we have a number of different service projects available, from service desk, facilities, HR, marketing, operations, customer service. In this case here, we've actually provisioned the new user setup through the service desk as opposed to doing it through the HR. But that's fully configurable and customizable depending on how your organization chooses to do so. I'll also emphasize that there is a search bar that's available to search through the knowledge base to identify if there is any knowledge articles to help. So if we're looking for onboarding, it's going to make recommendations either on articles or requests. So we can see there are no articles, but maybe there's one for employee setup. Sure enough, there's a couple of articles for employee setup, one for Mac VPN, Mac Pro, and Office 365, but it's not exactly what we're looking for. So we're going to go ahead and select the setup new employee, which is found in the service desk. Okay, so this now takes us to the new employee setup. So we're going to identify who we're raising this on behalf of. So this is myself as the manager. New hire setup for Ryan Hanna. I'm going to do it for myself because it's my first day on the job. You're going to notice here that it's continuing to recommend knowledge articles. That way, if tickets can be deflected, they can. One thing that we've got set up in this configuration here is we've already got a user created. So there was a step beforehand to provision the user. We can identify a start date for this employee. So as it's myself, we're going to go ahead and get started on the 18th, just after the mid-month payroll. We've got the forms integrated with Insight, so we can go through and choose which laptop options we have. I'm an Apple guy, so we're going to go with the 16-inch MacBook Pro. Identify if there's any laptop accessories that are desired. Again, as an Apple guy, we're going to go with a Magic Keyboard, and we'll go with the Magic Trackpad. Cloud subscriptions that are desired. Let's see, we got Jira Align. We're going to get DocuSign. We're going to use Office 365 and Slack because we got to have those communications. Yes, I require a security badge, and we're going to select an office setup as I prefer working in the office over remote. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and submit this ticket. And it's as easy as that. So this ticket has now gone in to the support team. We can see here all of the details in the details panel. You have the ability to hide this if you want a more condensed view. On the right-hand side, we can see the status of the ticket. One of the great benefits of utilizing Jira Service Management over some of the other traditional tools is that when these requests go in, you know exactly where the status of your support ticket is at, your onboarding, because it's available to you through the portal. In addition, should I need to, I can share my ticket with any other team members if in case I need to escalate it to a manager or any other reason. And lastly, we'll see here that we have the comment fields. This is where the customer will be able to communicate with the agents as they need to. Please expedite. We can add our comments in, and then those will be available. Okay, and now we're going to jump into the ticket itself. So first off, before we go into the actual ticket, I'm going to show you the queue view. So now we're in Jira Service Management. We're in the IT Service Desk project. On the left-hand side, we have the navigational panel where we can access the queues, specific queues for service requests, incidents, problems, changes. And because this is an IT Service Desk project, we also have other IT-related items like a change calendar integration with our services, on-call schedules, so on and so forth. Okay, but for today, what we're focused on is onboarding. So what we've actually done is we've created a dedicated queue specifically for new employee onboarding. As we can see here, there's a lot of requests, so the team has decided they needed a specific view. So now we're going to go ahead and pick up the ticket where we've identified this new employee. So I'm going to scroll down through here. We have all the details that have been captured. So instead of having to worry about what information is necessary, who it is, where it is, what the details are, it's all captured in one place. So it's not searching through email, you're not having to go to various spreadsheets. I want to scroll down here to identify a couple of specific items that we're focused on today, which is how do we integrate this process with our other teams? So the first section I'm going to highlight is the automatic creation of subtasks. So because of the information that we've selected within there, we've set up automation rules within the system to create subtasks so that we can track the completion of these specific items against the onboarding issue itself. So as we can see here, there's a specific task to confirm access for DocuSign, Jira Line, Office 365, and Slack. So these are the IT specific items. And if we click into those, we can see that they've got the various details. Each of those subtasks has their own workflow. So we can go in, start the progress, update it, mark it as complete. Once it's done, set a resolution to done. We have the option to link it to other issues if necessary. Now we're going to go back. So now at the parent task level, we can see that that specific task has been completed. And the great thing is with this is if there are multiple teams or multiple people involved in some of these, in this case, it's all assigned to the same individual, but those can be assigned to the different groups or the different teams that are required. So that is one example of how we've been able to automate the creation of subtasks for the setup. Now, the next piece I want to highlight and emphasize is the ability to create additional issues in other projects. So as you can see here, because of the request, we've actually created a separate HR task in the HR project and a facilities task in the facilities project. So very quickly, we'll go into the facilities one. And similar to the subtasks, they are linked back and forth. And we can have a separate workflow and a separate process, separate assignees for each of those items within that individual's group. So now facilities knows exactly where the source originated from. They have direct access to all of the information that was required, and it further streamlines the work process around it. So once they're able to resolve this workflow, get everything set up, go ahead and resolve that. We can go back to the originating ITS ticket. As we scroll down, we can see that that issue has been resolved. So at this time, we can either notify the customer that has been completed, or in advanced situations, we can even set up additional automation rules to send out those notifications to the customer should we choose to do so. As we can see on the right-hand side here as well, the issue continues to keep track of the SLAs. In this case, we've got a time to first response SLA that has already been met within the 4-hour time frame, and a time to resolution that has been set for 8 hours that we are working towards completing. Okay. So the next item I want to show you is the HR project. So we're going to go and click into here because we've configured another very useful automation capability here. So very similar to the ITS project issue where we created the subtasks, we had another automation, create additional subtasks within our HR task. So as you can see, with each team, there might be multiple issues, multiple work tasks that have to be completed. By having the automation rules create the additional subtasks, it provides better visibility on the overall progress towards completing the entire onboarding process. So within HR, if we need to prepare the welcome folder, update the employee directory, schedule employee engagement activities, set up employee orientation, payroll, and benefits. We can go ahead here and mark these as complete. as we're working on them. And again, this is all providing better visibility back to the stakeholders to ensure that they're aware of how everything is tracking. So if we go back to our ITS project, again, we can see as things are being completed where the various tasks are at within their life cycle. In addition, within the ticket, you have the ability to post comments to either internal employees. So if you need to send an internal note to someone in HR, we can do so. So we can highlight Alana, ask that grant, and you assist with completing the HR tasks. And Alana's going to get a notification. Alternatively, we can post customer specific comments. Hi at Ryan, Hannah. We're working on your ticket. Should have it resolved shortly. And then the customer who submitted the ticket will be receiving those highlights. And as the teams continue to work through these tickets, we're going to be updating the overall status of them. Another area of opportunity for automation. And then resolve and close the ticket. And closed. And that's kind of the start of it. So we can see here that we've got all of the assets linked. We've got all the visibility we need on these tickets. We have access to all of the systems that we should be able to create. We have the ability to automate tasks and an improved ability to collaborate. And that really was the focus of the demo today. Okay, so I'm going to switch back to the presentation here quickly. And lastly, I wanted to touch on a last few resources that Atlassian has made available for teams in HR. With an increased focus in HR, they've been identifying areas that they can help support HR teams, their talent acquisition, onboarding, and their overall experience. You can identify what products support the different teams and the different processes. They've got team assessments, best practices, products, and workflows that are created for dedicated directly to teams. In addition, they've created HR teams ebooks to help provide best practices for teams, including employee onboarding. So if anybody's interested in learning more about how to maximize and utilize their employee onboarding processes, these are excellent resources, and I encourage you all to check them out. And now we've got time for our QA. So if we can take a pop into our QA panel and see if there are any questions here. How easy is it to connect with Power Apps? I'm assuming you're referring to Microsoft Power Apps. I'm not sure exactly. That's something that we can definitely take away, though, Damien, and look into and get back to you on. Well, we've got everybody's registration and contact information there, so we'll make a note of that question, and we can definitely set up some time to look into the integration capabilities with Power Apps and see how we can integrate it there. And Patricia is asked, what about the content of the onboarding? Topics the new hire needs to review in some order, perhaps in Confluence. Yes, great example. So we don't have that specifically set up here today, but that's an excellent use case of Confluence to be able to share documentation for orientation and new employee onboarding to get familiar with processes and procedures. So excellent point, Patricia. One question here, if we were a smaller firm looking to implement Jira as an HR management solution, what's the best way to get started? The great way to get started is definitely looking at the templates that are available out of the box, as we highlighted earlier in the presentation. They are a really good starting point. If you have people in-house that are technically savvy and are open to learning how to configure Jira, certainly that's an option as well. And another option would be reaching out to a solution partner like ourselves to be able to help with that onboarding process. So if there are configurations necessary to modify workflows or update some of the forms, solution partners like ourselves can definitely help with that. One question, will I need to order business cards, stationery, etc.? I think that's referring to potentially another option that you can implement within the forms. So certainly the screen that we demonstrated where those various questions were, asking what type of laptop or accessories, those all can all be customized and configured. So if business cards or stationery are part of that, you can definitely have a separate field available for that. What is the subscription fee? So with the Jira products, the fees vary depending on the product. So Jira Work Management and Jira Service Management are two separate products, and depending on the number of users or agents. So with their monthly subscriptions, there is a per user charge, and then with the annual product, there is a tier-based charge. So depending on which option you would go. And the best way to view that is to go to www.atlassian.com, and they have all the pricing available directly on the website, or go over to the avant.ca website and you can submit a request and we can get in touch and talk about specific pricing. I think we've addressed all the questions. I want to thank everybody for coming out again today. If you do have more detailed questions that you'd like to dive in, we'd like to feel free to contact us at info@avant.ca. And once again, thanks everyone for joining. Have a great day.